Welcome.
I have an hypothesis that maybe I should say now,
Okay.
and then we dive into this thing,
Okay.
and then you guys at the end can tell me if you agree with my hypothesis.
Alrighty.
Shakespeare's famous quote, and I believe in this deeply, that all the world's a stage, all men and women are merely players. Players in, Old English, meaning probably actors of some nature. This felt like a PR rebuttal to a PR rebuttal to a PR rebuttal. And the gentleman in the suit with the goatee, the marketing CEO, I think paid off Netflix to make this. We'll just to sit on it, and we'll come to y'all's conclusion at the end. But first off, we're covering Liver King's comeback.
Yeah, the Untold, the Liver King thing from Netflix.
And I'll give it this. One, I hated it. Two, it's probably one of the things, and they say art isn't to be explained. Art is should just drive emotion. It did make me feel something.
Sick to your stomach?
Yeah, no, it put me in a bad mood. It really did. And I've been working real hard on my emotions and detaching from life and whatever for my whole life, with therapy, etc. But even in my, personal business, businesses are roller coasters, and you have to start to control your emotions. And a lot of things don't hit me viscerally, but I watched the whole thing, obviously, and then I just noticed for the rest of the evening, I was like, man, I don't feel good. Yeah, this is icky.
This is part of why I watched it right before I went to bed, so that I could sleep through.
I probably had nightmares. It made me feel icky. Yeah.
I didn't have nightmares, but it's the ick is strong with this one for sure.
Yeah, it made me feel not good.
And I think that every single thing we saw in the whole thing was performative by everyone.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
So
you're already with my hypothesis.
So that's probably true. I think that the people who used to work for him, however,
like his buddy with the hat,
are more critical than I was expecting for them to be.
But even that, they were still kind of nice. Man, he should have told me about steroids.
Yeah,
no, dude, this dude's literally a scam on top of a scam on top of a scam. And then when it's all released, he has another story about when he was 17, he was a scammer.
Right.
Why'd they even inject that?
That is a really good question.
This dude's just going to Catholic confession. He's just letting the whole world know he's a literal scumbucket from day one.
I cannot tell you whether or not I think. It's not even whether it's true, but I can't tell you exactly what I think about whether, number one, everything that we see is completely performative, or if he believes some of this shit and he acts it out in the cringiest possible way.
Yeah, because they kind of led that in the end, right? When you believe something so much, it becomes your truth or something. I'm that's not a justification for doing bad things.
No, it's really not.
That's just the easiest cop-out ever. Well, he didn't mean to. He just believed he had to take care of his sick kids. What?
Well,
he's 45.
Yeah.
You're a fucking adult. And you literally are doing the same. I mean, that GNC story is literal fraud.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Put him behind bars.
Yeah.
The steroid lie, yeah, you can't really put him behind bars. But, if, where there's smoke, there is fire. There's nothing, I just doubt his business on the back end and him as a human and his poor fucking kids, which we'll dig into, as Sebas mentioned. There's not innocence running around this thing. His kids... Rad Ickle?
Yeah.
Bro, I went to a weird school. I grew up with kids named Forrest and Apple and shit. Okay. Rad Ickle.
Rad Ickle, yeah.
The fuck? His other kid had a normal name, I think, right?
I don't remember his name.
It might have been Brian or something. But Rad Ickle is insane. And those poor kids, talk about fraud. I don't think they ever ate raw food.
You ever see them put it in their mouths?
They did when they killed the cow, and you could see them holding back vomit.
Yeah, that was not...
You're telling me you're doing that? You're eating nuts with your dad every day, and then just this time you're going to gag?
And I shouldn't comment on appearance, but man, they need to see a dermatologist, both of them.
Yeah, and obviously some of it is sad. They probably had, some kind of autoimmune disease.
Or
like
not.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
the marketing guy throws that into question at the end.
Yeah. And
it's like, is this just part of the story?
That's where I do agree with some of that. Even like carnivore gets a bad rap because of the people pushing carnivore.
Yeah.
Where like an elimination diet, if you have things going wrong, if you're shitting yourself every day as an adult, you should probably take some foods away, break it down to some veggies and meat, and then build your way back up and find out why you're shitting yourself every day.
But it may not be the food.
It may not.
There might be other way.
Yeah, it may not be.
There may not be any other way to figure that out.
Yeah, elimination. Even when you're trying to, lose weight or get jacked, stripping everything away. Not that sugar's gonna, the devil, but you strip everything away first, and then you slowly build back moderation and tolerance. I do that with a lot of people I work with, but. Yeah, their skin didn't really look healthy.
No,
they didn't. For how much they supposedly worked out. I know they're kids. I should never comment on kids, but like the one had to be close to 18.
Yeah,
that dude's lifting weights every day. He doesn't have an ounce of muscle.
Yeah,
and all you're eating is protein. Like clearly, the N=1 of Liver King slamming steroids like a fucking gorilla. He's the only one that looks that way. And for people, first of which we've done many episodes. But like for anyone to think he's natural,
yeah, that's pure insanity. That's like
pull up Christian McCaffrey. Some say Christian McCaffrey over the last 5 years is top 3-5 running back in the NFL. He's a white man. So we're trying to keep the genetics here similar to a Liver King, and Christian's fucking jacked, and he is cream of the crop genetics. That's as freaky as it fucking gets for humans.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I'm pretty, I'm not going to put money down, but Christian's probably natural. He might,
He's kind of got all the abs.
He's got some biceps. He's probably
his
200. He's probably 200 pounds, 5'10".
Yeah.
And he's fast. He's fucking strong. And Liver King looks like he's 5'6", 260, with not an ounce of real athleticism. And you look like that?
Yeah, he looks like he's stuffed full of something.
And his friends, other people, other like commentators, podcasters, Logan Paul, who's getting a lot of steroid, pushes now that he's in the WWE, and he did get pretty jacked. But at least, like even him, like, oh man, he was like all American wrestler.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, he's got some.
He had athleticism.
Suppose he was good at football. He grew up literally the town over from my dad. He grew up in Westlake, and we're from North Olmsted. Like he grew up in a athletic area. Well, okay, maybe he's 6'4", 220, like a lot more believable.
Yeah.
Than Liver King, who, if you see him even before, there's too much to talk about, bro. Like he, like as he says, like I want millions of followers. He was kind of probably natty. Some of those videos, he looks kind of natty when he first started doing that, and then he just started plugging himself full of shit, taking 100 takes to be a terrible content creator.
So this review that's in The Guardian used this. He looks like a hot water bottle stuffed with bowling balls, an 80s action figure with more veins, an improbably muscular man who put his bodybuilder shaming physique down to a diet of raw liver, raw bone marrow, and raw testicles.
And even that. Talk about the fallacies in this thing. Within the first 10 minutes, they got like a fully cooked prime rib on the table.
Right.
And that's what I was talking to Sebastian. I don't know, because I followed him loosely.
I followed even looser than you did.
Yeah, much less a fan. So I don't know what his actual like tenets and shtick is.
Yeah.
But I thought it was raw meat. And then within the first 10 minutes of this, he's got a Rolex on. Don't think my ancestors had that.
No.
He's got a prime rib cooked.
Yeah.
And then he's wearing a Rogue shirt made of polyester plastics.
Yeah.
When he's all about like, and then he's drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you're preaching. Like the contradictions here are just so deep. Clearly he's a CrossFitter, right? Like they show the old clips and he's doing CrossFit.
Right.
He's got all his Rogue shit on, which is cool, fine and dandy. But don't claim to be this natural. You're grounding yourself. You won't wear shoes. And then you're just going to wear polyester. And even me, I don't like wearing polyester. I try to wear as much cotton as I can, But like, I'm also not leading my life with the pitch that polyester and things are going to kill you.
Yeah, I've got a review from The Guardian and one from Time Magazine. And both of them miss the point that's in the video that I think is probably true, that he was a multimillionaire before he started,
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
Whether it was those supplements or something, I've even heard it's something totally separate.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just
maybe,
business shit.
Maybe crime related.
Yeah, maybe it's that GNC scam.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's dealing steroids. Again, where there's smoke, there is fire.
If somebody claims to be making X million dollars a year, and you can't account for it based on sales volume and popularity of their product or whatever, they are either lying about the amount of money they're making, or they're lying about where all of it's coming from. Those are the options. There's no
100 mil. I mean, maybe he was. They also made it seem like he was the first to ever. I mean, maybe not the first, but they said he was like one of the companies to really sell like pill-formed liver, which may be true. Like, who knows how long the company's been around? If it's in the early 2Ks, maybe he was one of the first.
There was pill-formed liver in the
but to like
60s
popularize
and 70s,
it. But to popularize it. And so, like, I could see him making 100 mil. It's definitely possible. Like,
but they said 220 mil
a year. I thought 100 mil. Either way, I think it's still possible. Like, he was one of the most viral guys. Like, if you look at the history of virality, he's on the Mount Rushmore right now. Him, fucking Sketch.
But he surely didn't do that by himself. It was the marketing people that took him there.
Yeah, which you would think now, and I know. That's where it gets complicated, because they're like half pulling the Wizard of Oz veil.
Yeah,
they're half pulling it, but I think they're pulling it into another scam.
Yeah,
but like, if you were ever a fan of him, you just can't be. Like, the whole thing was calculated,
right?
And that's where the internet's obviously going, right? Like, you go scroll through all the Ashton whatever, talk about virality, the morning routine guy.
Oh, that guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me he doesn't have a marketing team behind him?
Oh, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, it's almost guaranteed. These guys are just like turning into puppets. You're turning into like bad actors, because you don't actually have to act, because it's more edited than a TV show.
Yeah.
Like, to be Instagram and TikTok good. And he even said 100 takes for a story. And like, I'm biased because we're obviously from like the frontier of this game, but like,
right.
I think you should have a skill. You should be able to talk, not mumble, not stutter, and not take 100 takes to be a YouTuber, because being a YouTuber is just talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you don't even have the one skill it takes to be who you want to be. Yeah, maybe, and trust me, if we have any haters, I'm not jealous. Like, I don't want 1 million followers anymore. I want to get off the internet, but like, it just seems so lame to me. Like, when you go to the NBA, you should be able to dribble a ball. If you're trying to be an online personality, you should be insanely unique. Okay, he kind of has that. He's a fucking weirdo. And you should be able to communicate or entertain. He can't. And they proved he can't.
Yeah, I mean, most of what you saw from him looks like WWE promos.
Yeah, and they weren't even good. That's my point.
Were not good.
Like, they're so edited. Now we know it took 100 takes and they were bad.
Yeah.
Where, again, people talk shit on WWE for being fake or whatever, but we've known many of them. And I've watched it when I was a kid. They're talented.
Yeah.
It's often live.
Right.
And sometimes
no edits.
Sometimes unscripted, in the sense that they don't get handed what to say.
Right.
They just have a general flow to the story, and they go up there and say funny shit.
Right.
Like John Cena, Stone Cold. If you go watch Stone Cold and The Rock go back and forth and highlight clips on YouTube, they're hilarious. And it's all off the cuff.
Yeah, both of them are really good at improv. Which really what it comes down to.
And they're going back and forth. The insults, they walk the line because they know they're on live TV, but they're still funny and they're still like good. Where, how are you going to be like a lead on this generation of content and you're not even good at making content?
And yet, millions of people followed him and hung on his every word, and it was, we've been talking about cults recently, and this one doesn't exactly fit in there, but there are definitely some cultish behavior around him.
Yeah, cult adjacent.
Yeah, and like aggrandizing himself.
He's for sure a narcissist.
Thing one,
yeah, he's fucked.
And then the way that people just sucked up to him. It's I mean, all of us who've been in the content game in the fitness world for a while have stories where people come up to and say, hey, your content meant a lot to me at a time that was difficult in my life. It really, was kind of lifeline. I identified with things you said or who you were or whatever, and that's great. And then you just say, you feel good, a little good about yourself for a minute, and then you move on and you don't make it your whole personality.
Yeah.
If you're halfway sane.
Yeah, I think the ick for me is broken down into two pillars. It's how calculated it was, which is fine, right? Business, life, being calculated, it's good, right? Having a plan and executing. But it's the calculation of a scammer.
Yeah.
And even let's even say base level. Let's say he is a changed man from GNC. The base level steroid scam where he's lying, staring folks in the eye.
Spending $12,000 a month on
Logan Paul was pissed, and they did.
Yeah.
They should have let his rant go further.
They should have.
They just let the rant barely, but he was pissed. He's like, "Bro, you looked at me, man in the eye, and told me, you're lying." Like, it is true. Like, you're fucking again. It just feels like an 18-year-old talking. Like, you're 45. You're gonna go on. At that point, it was probably top 10 podcast in the world, Impulsive, and even still, they do obviously very well. And you're just gonna just spit bullshit,
and
just not care. It sucks. And yeah, again, like, let alone how many kids are watching, how many 17-year-olds he's got just fucking going eating cow cock on Friday. Just insane activities.
And if you're a particular kind of influencer, you don't even have to be lying about steroids. You could be telling the truth one way or the other.
No, I think if he's...
And all the other behaviors are shady as fuck.
Yeah, I think I think the steroid's only bad in this case because he lied about it so so confidently and for so long, which is everyone again, which is 90%. More people talk about their steroid use, and some, in my opinion, talk about it too much and turns into promotion really quickly.
Right.
But there's still obviously a huge gap of people that are using. Taking shirtless pictures, again, talentless, and then building a following and selling shit based on pure looks. But it's just how he went about it. And then again, like, to me, and you can call me a hater all you want, but he just seems completely talentless. They even showed the very first shot of the thing. He's pulling an F450 with a brace on, right? He's doing like a sled drag, and his homies are pushing the truck.
Pushing the truck, yeah.
And I'm not saying he's not a badass, he's probably walked a mile with 100-pound kettlebell, shit that I don't want to do and probably couldn't do, yeah. He's probably done some physical activities that are very difficult. But, like, he's not, like, actually lifting that much. I've seen him squat, maybe squats 400, maybe bench 315. You got that much juice through you. You should be some kind of an athlete. Yeah. And then you're faking half of them?
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, shout out to guys like Larry Wheels and even Bradley Martin and some of these other ones that got hate back in the day for doing, like, gimmicky-ish things. At least they're real athletes, and they're not using fake plates.
Yeah.
Like, Brad's fucking strong. Larry's clearly strong. He's done it on the platform. But, like, Brad's a strong dude, too, Like, at least there's that string of somewhat authenticity with those type of guys. In Liver King, there's... Right? Like... Why do you lean towards a certain athlete or rapper or whatever? Often it's because there's, like, some kind of authenticity, or YouTuber, some kind of authenticity, like you said, that you relate to, whether it's a good time, bad time, or even just in general. Oh, I like that dude because he looks this way, he dresses that way, and he's into this, and I'm into those things. There's something. Like, besides Liver King, like, to me, he's more of a meme than a content creator. But it seems like, and maybe it's because we're too in this, and maybe it's a documentary. I don't know, but it seems like they made it seem like 70-80% of his followers were fans. Where in my head, it was like 70-80% of followers are just along for the meme.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
But I don't know what's real, because obviously he's selling products, so, like, some people are buying.
Yeah. But, theoretically, he was selling product before. What I didn't see is, like, what kind of sales increase happened when he became this big thing. And then there was a little bit about, there's like a $25 million lawsuit from his like a class action of his customers who felt like they were
lied to,
yeah, fraud.
I wonder if that works.
But like, we didn't get any of that at all. And I think structurally one of the big problems with this thing is that there was way too much setup and not enough coverage of the fallout. Like you were talking about the different clips from different people. Like there could have been more of that, and they could have put in more. They should have shown his people who eventually were willing to say negative things about him and not work for him anymore.
Yeah.
Being more specific or confronting him because the fucking cameras were there, right? I mean,
maybe they're not. Yeah, maybe they're not speaking terms. That's why I think that's why my hypothesis was my hypothesis is like they build him up, say how awesome he is, and grows so fast, and companies making $100 million. And you're right, they business wise, it would have been cool to know what they were doing before he blew up.
Yeah,
and then you hear $100 million, $200 million a year, and then like, oh, he lied to Logan Paul, and then it's straight into he's already clean. 6 months later, he confessed.
Yeah.
6 months later, he changed his whole life. 6 months later, he's talking to strawberries. 6 months later, like just he's been a scammer since he was 17, admittedly.
Yeah.
And that's why they put it in there, right? Like, because he's showing that basically since 17 till now, whatever age, I'm just saying 45. 45, he's still scamming, right, with steroids and lies and then 6 months, all that's cleansed. You're just a changed man.
He looks no different.
No, he got
6
bit.
months
Yeah,
later.
yeah. He lost 5 pounds.
And the Time Magazine review points out the fact that he went back on.
Yeah,
at some point
he admitted that for sure. He said he got back on because obviously if you're juicing that hard and then go to zero, you're going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
So and then he's back on TRT, which is the new, that's the new cop out for taking shit, which is literally everyone on the internet. Every natty 24-year-old Instagrammer claims TRT. I'm like, you're 20 fucking 4.
Yeah.
And supposedly you work out. And supposedly you eat healthy. You don't need TRT. Like that'll be 3% of folks will need it, right? Because of genetics and Messi and all these people fucking needed HGH because Messi was 5'3" at 18 or whatever. Like yes, there are some real, endocrine issues, but every Instagrammer has had them at 24. Like, you're just all such fucking liars. I just don't understand why. Like, how big is your ego that you got to lie about shit like that? And clearly, Liver Kings is through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
Like, it's all of this is pure ego-driven mania. Just to be popular. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it just made me feel so grumpy. Because he's an accumulation of the downfall of social media.
Everything that I hate about the fitness space and social media.
No, he's literally
encapsulated in this guy.
This movie is about what's wrong with social media. And I'll be seeing guys who are like kind of new on the scene, again, to us, because we've done it, whatever.
A long time.
Right?
Let's
decades.
say a long time.
Yeah, literal decades.
From the beginning.
And have friends that have done it decades. And we're friends with some of the new guys. It's not like I'm just old, grumpy, get off my porch guy, but like, because I'm friends with some of JP and other people that have come up in new times. Lean Beef Patty. I think some people are doing social media wonderfully. I forgot who it was. I think it was literally last night, too. I'm scrolling around and someone's going off about how social media is now, bad. I'm like, bro, it's been. As soon as people knew you could start to make buco bucks, and you starting to get love from fans, all the ego-driven come. And then when the ego-driven come, they're going to do anything else. Same as Hollywood, right? Like, people say Hollywood's scum. Well, why? Because it's how you got rich and famous in the 90s. Yeah. So it's going to take a certain personality to move from Oklahoma to L.A. to try to chase that dream. And then the top % of those egos make that dream. And then, of course, the industry's going to be scum. And we're just stuck there. He's just he's gross. He's gross.
And they talked about it a little bit that, like, once you reach a certain level, if you're not able to maintain that, if your view count or your followers or whatever doesn't stay up there, then you start to do more and more outrageous things just to catch attention.
Right.
And that becomes a spiral. You cannot sustain that for forever.
I've obviously been into streaming since like 2015, 16 myself, but like streaming's taken off, and IRL streaming in particular, people are just vlogging on the road, and how do you get views? You do crazy things or talk to crazy people, and some of them do it great. Shout out my boy Agent. Agent will go to Walmart live, and he's obviously very popular, so people are talking to him, and he has fun fan interactions that are very innocent, but they're off the cuff because he doesn't know who he's going to meet, and he's charismatic, so they're fun and funny. Some kids, who's a Johnny Somali? I don't know if you know him, but the other one's Vitali. There's 2 dudes that are in prison overseas for disrespecting laws of local government. I think Vitali's looking at 6 to 10 years, who's an OG YouTuber, 6 to 10 years in like a Philippines prison. Maybe it's Thailand. And Johnny Somali is I don't even know who he is. I just see clips. But he's another one that's like in prison overseas because he's trying to get some outlandish reaction. And it sucks, but this is coming to a pin where I think it was this week, at least the first major one I heard about. There's a TikToker who I believe has a hair salon. There's a couple examples I have right now to talk about exactly the accumulation of all the bullshit we're talking about with pure fucking... Yeah, real life examples. I think she got a drive-by shooting because she was live and she died.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's a hairstylist or whatever, and just TikToker,
influencer, yeah.
And she's just streaming. And as far as I know, she wasn't doing anything bad. Like she wasn't antagonizing.
Her, yeah.
And she got fucked up. Another one is I'll read the tweet on the nose, to give an example of how all this is just like, look, man, I don't know what you guys believe in, but you want to call it the devil, you want to call it bad. I just think it's bad. Like Steve Will Do It, who's one of the, another Mount Rushmore-esque guy of content creation and shout out to Steve, who's been relevant since they took away his YouTube channel and even still remained relevant. And I've been right next to him. I've seen him interact with people. He's worked out at the gym I go to in Vegas. Seems, and everyone I know who knows him, kind man, like a generally good dude. He says, I got 12 cars, 8 houses, and an airplane, yet I'm super unhappy. He just tweets that yesterday out of nowhere.
Damn.
And you're like, yeah, man, because you're surrounded by, even if you are a good dude, you're surrounded by fuckheads, you're surrounded by egos, and you're chasing things that just don't matter. And I like Steve a lot. Again, like I've heard only good things about him, but his content, similar to like a Liver King, is based on nothing. Like I don't believe Liver King's bullshit when he says like, yeah, I'm really just trying to help people. Because like the first thing he said is I'm really just trying to get 1 million followers. Then the story goes to I'm really trying to help people because I think these tenants are good and they help my kids. Like again, he's just feeding him his own bullshit. And I don't think Steve's on any of that mission, but Steve is a little bit of shock factor type content. He'll chug a bottle of vodka or whatever. Very funny, very entertaining.
Yeah.
But if you're just chasing things that don't matter, then you're going to receive things, 12 cars, that don't matter. You only got one ass, can't be driving 12 cars. And then you're going to, your ultimate soul is going to receive things that don't matter. You're not going to feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everyone has to go on some Gandhi life mission to be a YouTuber, but you got to have something in you that moves. You got to have, again, some Tony Robbins shit, but you got to have some kind of real why. Why do you do this? And it could be as simple as I like to create.
Yeah.
And someone like a Sebas who likes to filmography, photography, and edit, like that could be your mission, but your mission just to get 1 million followers, to eat a fish in a lake head off, to fake pulling a truck, like it's probably going to lead you nowhere. You're probably not going to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you fuckhead.
Well, what do you really think, Mike?
It made me feel so bad. It's been a long time. I don't know. I think just as you get older, you feel a little bit less. I know that sounds sad, but, like music used to just slap me in the face. Like even a shit song, you'd kind of feel something from a shit song. Now I know a song's good when I feel something, right?
Yeah.
And like movies, whatever, then I'm like feel. Rarely, right? I need to see Sinners because I heard that makes you feel.
I still need to see it too.
Yeah. Kari was saying it was insane.
Oh, it's really good.
And then, so it's a rare piece, which is great, right? Not every piece of art needs to move you. And so... no documentary have we watched have I been fucking like felt,
Yeah.
And this dude just made me so mad. He made me so mad. I guess just because it goes against everything I've tried to build.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just like...
It's so close to home.
Our sensibility is just different. This is why we're not Liver Kings or as popular as we used to be back in the day, is that we're not willing to do the performative stuff. I wish in some ways that I was, but I'm not. I can't.
See, I don't even know if it's that, because again, it's like a hater, but it's not a jealousy. I swear to God, it's not, because I literally do want to get off the internet in the next 3 years. Like, but it's the fact that the bullshit meter is a 10 out of 10, and that's the number one winner.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. Where like, I would much rather have like all these little homies I know that are trying to like teach people how to lift or, whatever, like the Omars, the Allens who have had a great success. Like they deserve that level of success. and the Barts, but they don't get it because they're not on the bullshit meter.
Yeah.
You know, and sure, you can blame human nature, you can blame social media, you can blame whatever. I don't know what it is, but yeah, like, why is the bullshit win? Or even the other Brian Johnson. I told you there's a meme floating around I got to find about just hating on Brian Johnson's. But the live forever Brian Johnson, again, I don't think that guy's, he turned fucking weird, you know.
He's got a weird personality disorder.
Especially versus, again, those clips of him when he was a tech guy seemed very normal dad. Yeah. And then whatever he's doing now.
Then something happened.
Yeah, veganism made him crazy. Something made him fucking crazy. But, like, even that guy, like, I just don't think his mission is helping as many people for the level of popularity he gets. But you just got to do dumb, crazy shit to be popular. And that sucks. That sucks when, like, real shit doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Where early social media felt like it did. The skateboarder guy we covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo, but he's just trying to teach you how to kickflip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just trying to teach you. And sure, there's still some good. I don't want to be all negative. It seems like, who knows? It seems like Jimmy, Mr. Beast, is a good dude.
Yeah.
And he's doing cool, big shit, right?
No.
People said, who said it? It was some comedians like, everyone knows in 20 years, Jimmy, Mr. Beast is going to be the villain. Like, you know, in 20 years, something's going to turn. But, you know, he's giving people fucking free legs. He's curing blindness. Like, he literally is. Like, that's fucking cool. Like, he's literally, you know, like, I know he's getting paid for the views or whatever, but he's putting in real cash to get real prosthetics, and he made like 100 people walk. Like, he's doing good shit, you know, even if it is semi-weird and scammy and, you know, whatever, performative. At least there's a good outcome.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast last week. I think it was last week. An interview with the head of YouTube talking about Mr. Beast and some of the other creators there, and like, it was so politic. But he did say good things about him personally.
That's what everyone says. But then you don't know, too, because you're only hearing it from other top-end influencers, and it's a game. Like, you're not going to go publicly and talk shit like I do.
Yeah.
You know, because then it makes you look bad. That dude, I think they said $500 million a year.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah. And
that's him. I don't even think that's his company. Like, that's him. Who knows what his company's doing?
That's crazy.
I think his company's doing billions. Yeah.
Did you watch this one, Sebastian?
Yes, I did.
What's your reaction?
I felt bad for the kids. When they killed the cow, I think I was telling Mike that the older son just looked like kind of scared.
Bro, it looked weird.
He looked scared. He was
scared and sad.
Uncomfortable,
Yeah.
What do they say afterwards when they're like honor in the ground?
I
He was like honor in the ground, and the dad's like, "What'd you bring?"
So fucking.
And like even that stuff, like again, I grew up in a weird school. Like that stuff doesn't even weird me out. What weirds me out is the fakeness of it.
Yeah,
you know, because
it's not just the woo woo that gets you; it's the fake of the woo-woo.
I've been around. You know, I've had like classmates' parents cry when they see a dead squirrel and shit. You know, like I've seen all that. I know people like that, and I've seen genuine. There's no fucking cameras. There's no people, and this lady's crying because the squirrel died. She felt that squirrel's pain. You know, like I get it. Look, you do you. I don't feel that, but I get it. This guy's sitting there, and they're sitting in a circle saying, "We're back. Where the cow honored his life. What did you bring?" And the kid's like trying not to like laugh. And he said like, "I brought me," or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
my
like
whole self or something like that.
Yeah. And like the kid like clearly
like he's like, "I'm saying this because I have to. There's a camera on me."
No, there's a gun to that kid's head on the camera. Like it's so awkward.
If I don't say this, I don't get my dad's love or his money.
I think that's the same scene. They're eating a bull nut or the cow nut or whatever. And those kids look disgusted, like they've never eaten that before.
And the whole setup of that was, oops, I lost my mic here. The whole setup of that was fucking gross too. About the whole like, have you checked the freezer stores? You know, how are we doing for meat, son?
Yeah, clearly.
Like that's your job to keep the inventory of the meat and the testicles and the whatever.
Clearly scripted. But then they go out there and it looks like it's the first cattle they killed.
Yeah,
it was weird how they set it up where a guy shot it, or did he shoot it? Someone shot it.
I don't know. Yeah,
and he started fucking running after it. I was like, bro, what the fuck is this?
Dude, some of the early montages were so weird, too. Like, clearly they're trying to build up the Instagram persona into the Netflix to set it, but, like, just walking through the forest, you know, in a fucking red cameras, you know, fucking zoomed in. Like, just so weird. It's just so weird. The whole thing. And Untold, I think we've covered a few here.
Yeah, we definitely
And
have.
they are good. They're really good at storytelling in general, especially the sports ones. You know, I think we did Malice in the Palace, which is a great story, and still a very iconic fight in the NBA, and that is just a more interview story, where this one felt. That's why, again, my hypothesis. This one felt like it was in Liver King's favor. Like Malice in the Palace, they didn't make Ron Artest seem like some angel after punching a fan.
No.
You know, they just told it how it was and seemed unbiased. This almost seemed biased to, like, whip around this story again to 6 months later he's cutting melons and thanking whoever. He's thanking the melon for the melon.
Yeah. I think I told you, it kind of, like, tries to humanize him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, make him, like, more relatable and
he's just not human. He's fucking weird. He's rolling around in the mud out there, just fucking eating the smallest strawberry I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even picking that one up, bro. Let it grow a little bit.
His wife she fully just took the pill, bro. She's going.
She don't care, yeah.
She does not care.
I mean, she got the money, bro. She's chilling.
But she also seemed like a dipshit.
Yeah, she's just kind of following along for sure. I do feel bad for the kids, too, because they kind of seemed like normal kids stuck in this, like, now the camera's on us. Like, why is the fucking camera on us? Like, I knew my dad was doing goofy shit.
I can't wait till we hear how they went no contact with him.
Yeah, you'd imagine, right? And they weren't young, right? Like, the one was probably, like, what, right? Like 15, 17, 14, 17. You know, they're kind of grown now, like, enough to understand what's going on. But it just all felt scripted.
It kind of reminds me of, you know, that kid that was, like, super jacked as a kid, like, from the time he was like 8 or 9
Tristan?
years old. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I know Tristan.
Who just walked away from it at some point.
Oh, probably not Tristan.
No. It was a white kid. Yeah, like long.
Long hair. Yeah.
I don't know.
Pocket Hercules or something like that.
Oh, I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Because Tristan's kind of like that, but he's still in the game.
Yeah.
Tristan was just like, shout out Tristan. Tristan was like trying to play pro soccer in Europe. But for some reason, and he kind of on screen and off screen, he's just like, dude, I just don't really like food like that. So I always just ate crazy healthy, and so he's just always been jacked out of his brains. And then now he like more body builds, and he's probably like your age now. But I think he went viral when he was like 16 because he looked like a bodybuilder, you know, because he just ate so clean and trained like a pro athlete.
That's crazy. The Time magazine review is pretty much a must read with this. I'm just gonna read the last 3 paragraphs out loud here, so bear with me. How do I repent? Johnson mulls in the film. I don't know what comes next. I don't have an answer to that yet. 6 months later, though, inspiration appears to have struck. He says he plans to open precisely 302 retreats that espouse ancestral living, with or without Rolexes. There are more mea culpas
whiskey.
For good measure. I want the world to know that I was wrong. I got all of it wrong, he says by the film's end, in between thanking a homegrown strawberry for nourishing him and simulating a baptism. It's hard not to watch this, I can't say that word, moment with skepticism, not least when minutes earlier Johnson had admitted to a criminal past, including illegally printing money and international drug trading. There were a lot more things that didn't make the cut, says Perlman, who was the director. It's a crying shame that so many of these late documentary revelations go without proper interrogation, which is my fucking point.
Yeah.
That should have been we should have gotten 5 minutes at the beginning about the setup, and the rest of it should have been a deep dive into what a scumbag he is. Instead, we are left with Johnson as an unreliable narrator of his own fairy tale. 99% of the fucking truth is what I would suggest to you that I've shared, he insists in Untold. His words smack more raw bull than his testicle dinner.
So this is Time. Yeah, it sounds like Time understands what we understand.
Yeah,
I could see them buying the bullshit because it seemed like everyone else there bought the bullshit.
Yeah,
but it's so bad. And what is the cut of him talking about his past crimes?
Yeah, I would rather see that.
Well, why? Why did they do like one story of past crimes and then all of a sudden, he's eating strawberries? Just because to me that's more like
it leaves you with the why.
Like, like you're just admitting you've been a criminal for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then 6 months, you're a strawberry loving. And then retreats. I mean, that's just really, he's
just another scam.
Well, he's delayed what the industry's already done, right? The industry's always been, 2010 to 2015, we're like, oh, wow, I could remote coach. So you become an online coach to actually help people. Then everyone does it because they see it's easy money.
Right.
Then you go into, oh, my gosh, it's all about consumables. So then you make a supplement company. 2014 to 2018, every motherfucker made a supplement company.
Right.
And then now what are they doing? They're doing some kind of life, alpha male retreat coach because now you can charge 10 grand for 3 days of work.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's literally just showing the evolution of online scammer.
Yeah.
He's just delayed. He's just 5 years behind. I hope no one goes, bro. If you take one thing from this podcast, don't go to one of his fucking retreats, man. I've seen some retreat shit on my timeline right now, and it's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense. Let's rate this thing, and then I want to get to one other issue that you and I have talked about a little bit. So I don't know of any way other to rate this than with bull testicles.
Wasn't there real studies, sorry to interrupt, wasn't there real studies that even showed like a regular cooked ass New York strip, like a normal human meal, has nearly amount of nutrients that you need compared to like this liver? Like, you know, like...
I'm sure there was, and if there wasn't, who cares? Because all this
there's
stuff
just
is
no
fucking
way
stupid.
like a big ass side of broccoli and a New York strip doesn't give me what I need versus a bowl. And the testosterone thing, the wife's talking about eating nuts to get testosterone is totally debunked. That's for sure. Like that means you give a blowjob and all of a sudden you're getting fucking, you know, the swallowers, not the spitters, are getting more fucking gains. Yeah, that's just absolutely insane. You eat a nut to get a nut. Like what the fuck are we talking about? She literally is eating a nut saying like, well, I need testosterone too. Like, I don't think it works that way, lady.
If you need testosterone, it's probably that your body is making it because women do have testosterone.
Well, even that, like, testosterone flows through your body. Not all men's testosterone just sits in my nut.
Yeah.
The fuck?
And to think that it would survive a trip through your gut.
Yeah, you're going to absorb that test. Like, we know that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, brainless.
Oh, my God. All right. To the rating point. Back to bull testicles. How many bull testicles would you give? Do you want to actually let's split it in two?
Yeah.
There's one for the subject and one for the execution.
Yeah. So like the subject and all that is like a -1. Like fuck that guy. Fuck this whole thing.
Yeah.
Fuck his scams. Like now we're just like promoting scams and trying to make them look nice.
Yeah.
You know, we're putting a bow on in my opinion, like a shitter. In terms of execution, yeah, it's like a documentary style. It wasn't Untold's best by any means.
No.
I just don't think it was as concise. The timeline wasn't as good. They clearly, we've talked about it many times, like for a documentary, you need the subject, which they got, right? They got the fun, the exciting subject, but then the actual execution was, mediocre at best. So even for that, maybe like a 2.8.
Yeah.
It's hard to differentiate my shitty feeling afterwards because it just feels so scammy.
Such a downer, yeah.
Well, because it's scammy beyond, like they're showing you the scam, right? The whole movie is about showing a scam, but I know there's a scam to the scam.
Right.
That's why it feels gross.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've seen other crime stuff and they're telling you about their past and now they're in prison or, murder documentaries or whatever. And that makes you feel like not good. But you understand like, all right, justice was done. Either they're in jail or they've actually changed. But I know this is just a scam bow on a scam.
Yeah. Sebastian.
I'd honestly have to agree. I'll probably just give it a 3. They could have done a lot better if they would have went into like his criminal past and just talked about that. Made it like 30 minutes longer just to talk about that and then not give it the ending that it got.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the ending.
The ending sucked. Yeah. For me, for the subject, it's can't be more than a one testicle.
Yeah, he sucks.
And in terms of the execution, I can't go more than about a 2.5 because of the way that it was constructed.
Yeah.
It does seem scammy on its face. It does seem like a a misguided rehabilitation project.
Yeah. That's why it feels like such a PR stunt, like my original hypothesis. It feels like that marketing guy has a director friend or a producer friend. He might
not actually have a title that means he's still working for him.
Yeah.
But he may indeed still be working for him as a consultant or something and not disclose that.
Yeah, or like they own a bank account together or some shit.
Something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem
because like we said,
honest.
Even when the homies like condemn him, they don't really.
Yeah.
They kind of say like, "Dang, it sucks. Brian lied about some steroids."
Yeah, I'm upset that I was fooled.
Yeah, I thought we were closer than that. Yeah. He could have told me about his steroids.
Yeah, it's like, is this guy close to anybody that isn't performative? No.
Yeah, no.
No, you don't get any sense that you don't. His relationship with his wife seems performative. His relationship with the kids seems performative.
Weirder.
His relationship with the people shooting his shit seems performative.
Yeah.
Running his company, performative. You know, it's just so unreal.
Well, and the whole marketing team puts the whole responsibility on him too.
Right.
Like, bitches, you were just as involved.
Yeah.
Like, one, you're naive as shit if you think he's natural.
Yeah.
And then two, like, you, even if he isn't, like, to me, it's just as bad, almost just as bad to be on steroids, lie about it to sell a supplement, as it is to fake pull a truck to show your performance.
Yeah.
Right? That's like lifting with fake plates to sell a pre-workout. Like, that sucks. That's a scam. That's a lie. And his whole marketing team wrote that up. They wrote that script to push the truck to make it look like he's pulling it. Like, you're just as lame. You know? Like, yeah, is that illegal, or are you the total devil for doing that? No, but, like, you're lame. You're fucking lame.
Yeah, and I would say it's probably. I mean, if he's laying it off on the supplements that he takes, or the lifestyle that he promotes, and he's getting money from that somehow or another, including actually just money from the social media part of it, right? It's fraud. It's just fraud.
Like, you don't have to say, like, I only pulled that truck because of ancestral supplements for it to be fraud. Like, you're everything. Like, marketing's more complex than that. This is the top of your funnel, and we know the bottom of your funnels to buy this shit supplement. Like, yeah, you're lame.
Yeah, for sure. So that's where I am with it.
Get fucked, Brian Johnson.
Get fucked, Brian Johnson. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to cover real quick was we were talking about the marketing of the live performance of World's Strongest Man, and it's a TV show, and they set, reset, they get. You know, we need crowd noise here. It's just like going to see it. Like, I went to Colbert in January. It's the same kind of thing for that, except that Colbert knows how to pack the stands. Yeah, because they don't charge anybody.
Yeah, isn't that genius? They've done these kind of shows for 70 years.
Yeah,
and they've always stuck to that model because they know it works.
Yeah,
and you're going to get people that are excited to be there.
I mean, and I mean, for some really hot shows, it's hard to get tickets or whatever. And when there's a show like Colbert where they produce a lot of them, right? Then they have to pull people off the street to fill out an audience. But in reality, like, most of the people who are there already got their tickets online.
Yeah. Or Price is Right or whatever. Those fuckers are stoked to be there.
Yeah, exactly. World's Strongest Man doesn't do that. They were charging.
They did. I mean, as far as we know, they did. Besides this one, right? Because we went free both times.
The last time that they were here, they were charging for the stands. We could
stands
see
only.
because they didn't try to block off the area. So
I think they stand. Yeah, they had a VIP tent. Yeah, and then they had a stand on only one side though. I think.
Yeah,
maybe
I think it was only one side. Yeah. This was 3 sides. Yeah, 2 sides.
Yeah, the one before there was at least a football field of gap you could hang out in and clearly see. Right. And there was a giant crowd.
It was very hard to see. They had temporary fencing up with the privacy screen shit on it. Yeah. So literally you had to stand up above it so you could see if you wanted to see. It was $200 for VIP tickets.
Yeah. I think even $80 for a shit in the stand. And again, like, going to the past cool ones like Venice Beach, it looked like people were just making a semicircle on the beach.
And I don't even necessarily think they have that it has to be free, but don't make it so expensive that if somebody's going to travel to see it, right, they're going to have to spend also an arm and a leg to get into it.
Was it $200 an event or even a day? It just seems crazy.
I think it was a day.
Because even that, sure. Right? There's 2 events a day.
Yeah.
They're like an hour long.
Why do you feel like you have to make money off of the crowd?
Well, like, yeah. And I do understand monetizing every inch of your business, but like we covered a long time ago, the Lakers kind of created sports entertainment, you could argue, right? Yeah. And what do they do? And what do they do at every single place now? Like, all right, you're paying $30 to sit in the upper deck in the NBA. And yeah, I understand there's 82 games and it's different, or 40 games if you're at home. Right. I understand that's different than one World's Strongest Man a year, but let's just bear with me. $30, you're sitting in the upper deck. You're getting fucking T-shirts thrown at you for free. Mm-hmm. You're getting a 2-hour-long sports game. Longer if it's baseball, longer if it's football. You're getting a halftime show of a B-list celebrity. Yeah. Like I saw Montel Jordan. Like that dude sings legit hits. for $30. And so now you're going to World's Strongest Man. You're spending $80. You're seeing 1 hour an event, or maybe 2 1-hour events separated by 6 hours, where you have to like find some shit to do in between.
And because you're the audience, you're also performing.
Right. You're getting yelled at when to clap. And again, who knows? We'll see come Christmas when this thing gets released, fucking 20 months from now. I bet you the stands are kind of empty and it looks silly.
I saw the natural stone medley of the Ultimate Winner when I was over there, and like they're gonna have to seriously sweeten up the cheering because like he was a first-time competitor.
Yeah, they're calling Full House for the rights to the clap track.
Yeah. And they're AIing people into the stands or something. I don't know.
They legitimately should have just done that to start.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If that was the deal, or just they could have filled the stands if they
Easily.
if it hadn't been for the cost and for the let's throw up a fence or whatever. It reminds me
There's no way their cost is that much.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're working with, like, the Sac City people. Like, they probably want that event. You know? Like, they're finding a way to make this work.
It just is short-sighted. It actually, in some ways, kind of reminds me of, and some people are going to feel stepped on when I say this, but when they try to control the sight lines for video for big powerlifting meets.
Yeah,
It's like your sport benefits from people in the crowd
pay-per-views.
posting your activities.
They do pay-per-views for some live lifting now.
I was like, what the fuck?
And I'm like, dude, who's going to pay for that? Like, we're just not at that point. And since we're a community-driven thing, much like Strongman, like, you have to, like, we already talked about it off air. Like, I see Arnold fucking pop up on his story, like, literally 4 days ago, talking about raising his prize purse, I believe, for Strongman, but for sure bodybuilding at the Arnold. And I do know the bodybuilding show you have to buy tickets for, whatever. It's in an auditorium.
But the Strongman's on
It's fucking sick because it's literally in the middle of the expo and there's thousands of people just ass to nuts trying to watch these guys deadlift on stage. It's fucking rad. I remember sneaking in, whatever. The epic year was like Brian versus Thor, deadlift off, and I'm sneaking to the front and the crowd's going insane. And they bought a ticket to the expo, but even that's $40, one. And then two, it's in the biggest expo in America.
Right.
And then you get to watch this on the side, and of course the crowd interaction is only going to help the athletes. Imagine being an athlete. You got to go do your heaviest Atlas stone ever. And you look in the crowd and there's fucking 50% green chairs.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That fucking sucks. Like, it's the one time you have a crowd watching you lift ever. No one cares about you or your sport. And then no one's there because whoever's putting this thing on charged $200. Yeah, it seems silly. I just don't think we're there yet. Find other ways to monetize.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, like $200 should be, you get to meet every fucking strongman, you get a free shirt and they're signing that bitch.
Yeah.
And you get to go play with the stone after.
Yeah.
You get to go on stage after. All right, I get $200 for that. If I'm a dad and my kid's just getting to the gym, I'm paying that. But just to sit in the crowd for an hour and get nothing, it just seems weird. And again, like, money's tight in the world. Strongman fans aren't known to be the richest.
No.
Like, it's just a grassroots sport, and you're trying to take it away from that. Like, I don't know. It just makes no sense. I don't know what their thinking is. There's other ways to make money if you really want to do shit. Run a local strongman meet on the side.
Yeah.
Not only to fill the time, but then you can charge those competitors $200 to get it because they get to be at the biggest, right? A regular, I don't know what a strongman is, but a regular powerlifting meet's $100 for your membership, $125 to compete, right? So $225, and you're just competing in a regular ass gym or high school,
right?
I could see high level strongmen that aren't pros paying $200, $300 to go compete in between the World's Strongest Man events, and now the crowd's got some shit to watch, and you're going to make just as much money.
Yeah.
You get 50 male competitors, 50 women competitors, and they're each paying $220.
And you built an audience.
They're going to hang out afterwards to watch. They're all going to buy a fucking T-shirt, and they're legitimate competitors to entertain the crowd in between your events. Boom, you're welcome, SPD. Fucking send me an invoice.
Yeah.
How much consulting? I made that up on the spot. Like, if you put real brain power into this, you can find ways to make it cooler and make the money while making it better. Just charging for a ticket in the stands doesn't make the event better.
No, it sure doesn't.
It literally takes away from the event. And there's other ways. Yeah, there's just a million ways to go get another sponsor. They have some, like, barrel company, right? Cracker or whatever the fuck it's called. Kraken, what's it called?
No idea.
They have a Knack. They have Knack Barrel, which I think's just like a shipping company. I don't even know.
Pretty much.
And then they have SPD.
Yeah.
Like, go get a fucking protein sponsor like Metrics used to be. Go get a fucking shoe company. Go get there's a million other companies out there that'll sponsor this thing. Like, there's ways to make money. And then if the Illuminati of SPD is blocking other sponsors, like maybe they do in other federations, I don't know, then make them pay more. And then don't worry about money, right? There is such thing as monopolizing sponsorship. That's great, but then pay up so we don't have to charge tickets.
Yeah, your sponsorship has to be at a certain level if you're going to block everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not against that idea, but fucking pay up so we ain't got to pay to watch. Seems silly.
Yep.
I wonder if they'll announce where they are next. If they're going to take up an option here. Probably not, because they charge $200 and no one's there, and they're going to blame the city. They'll blame the fans.
Yeah, that's another part of it that I'm disturbed by.
It'll probably happen.
How is it? I don't know what the other cities look like, and I mean they're probably with camera angles or whatever try to minimize the fact that it's not filled out.
But for all we know, they didn't charge, right? They did Charleston or wherever, Myrtle or whatever, 1 year in between.
2 years in between, yeah.
Oh, two in a row.
Yeah, they did 2 in a row here, and then two away, and then.
All right. So 3 years ago, though, as far as we know, they barely charged, right?
Yeah, you could see.
Easily.
Well,
yeah, we saw we saw everything we wanted. There's a mini gate, so you don't jump on the thing, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. It was. I mean, really, the worst of it is the fact that they put this privacy screen.
Yeah,
up.
it's just so dumb.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No,
it doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
I don't know. All right, that's all I got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, new episodes every Wednesday. I'm Silent Mike. Where you want to find me?
Sebastian.
I'm Sebastian _Brambila on IG.
I am at the Jim McDonald on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, 4% is a word, and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. I want to talk to you next time.